Greetings, folks. You're watching the Ristar Let's Play with me, Phil Too Real, and let's go ahead and get done with the intro. Oh man, I can't talk. But we're gonna play Ristar on the Sega Genesis collection, which is basically a collection of awesome Sega Genesis games. Which I'm very glad I got in on this game while it was still available on Steam, because as of the time of this recording, they took this awesome collection off the store, unfortunately. But it's very... Thank you, Toe Jam and Earl. But it's an awesome collection of games. And a lot of them bring back a lot of good memories. A lot of them. But the one we're going to be playing today is going to be Ristar. If anyone's ever seen Sonic for Hire, a little digression here. The green dude from Golden Axe is one of my favorite characters from Sonic for Hire. But anyways, fantastic web series. I give it a chance if you want to look at it. But anyways, back to this. Like I said, we're gonna be playing Ristar in the Sega Genesis Classics collection. And I'm going to show the very beginning of it. I'm going to try to play another Sega game off here after this Let's Play. I don't know how soon after it, but we're going to be playing it off here. It's going to be one of these games on here, obviously. But let's go ahead and pop in Ristar, and we'll go ahead and play. And I'm still to this day still getting used to calling him Ristar instead of Ristar. I don't know why. It's always been... Oh man, that intro brings back so many memories. But the story of Ristar, depending on the version that you're going to be playing, which I'm going to let the story here talk to us about it. The story in the international version, but I'd rather like the Japanese version just a tiny bit more. But the inhabitants of Planet Flora, or near if you're playing the Japanese version, they basically pray for a hero before, you know, Greedy's people, which is the villain in this game, decide to go and snatch the planet Elder up for the first planet. But their desperate prayers reach the mother of the shooting stars, Oruto, and not Naruto, Oruto. And she awakens one of her children, which is Ristar, as you see there. With the sole purpose of granting the wishes of the innocent people, he must stop Greedy and the brainwashed leaders of each world to restore peace to the Valdi System. And this is our titular character, Ristar. But in the English version, the legendary hero is captured by Greedy, and so Ristar answers the call to save the people of the Valdi System. And that's where we pick up at, man, 1995. Oh man! But this game is 30 years old as of the time of this recording, and my goodness, it's one of my favorite games on the Sega Genesis. I think honestly, this is probably my third or fourth game on the Sega Genesis I ever owned, and man, it's such a good game. It's a platformer game, so our first zone, so to speak, or round is being Planet Flora, and Ristar only has really two things he can do outside of walking: jumping and then headbutt. So he'll grab with his arms, and when you let go, he will headbutt an enemy. And then you'll find items all throughout the levels that you can either find through secrets like headbutting the walls, treasure chests, and sometimes they'll be laying around in the case of some items. But not very many items are in plain sight. You have to actually find them in treasure chests and headbutting the wall. And a lot of these enemies are Greedy's, Kaiser Greedy's minions, which their forms are like black orbs, and they take the form of whatever is I think the natural, you know, flora and fauna of the world. But most of them are these little rotating orbs. They do different things. In the case of round one, they just really fly around and all that. They might be in cocoons like in the second part of this level, but otherwise most of the enemies are Greedy's minions. I would say like maybe 95% of them. But with Ristar, you can grab onto different things. In the case of this, I'm grabbing onto this pollen or dandelion, and you can move left and right, and you know, get to higher areas with that pollen. And of course, by grabbing some of the environments, you can interact them in different ways. For example, that stuff you saw me grabbing down there, it allowed Ristar to swing to the other side. And in other cases, if you grab things like that, spiky ball thing, you'll take damage. Jump if you can get those bombs. But it's a fantastic game. I think the soundtrack in this game is phenomenal. It's probably one of my favorite soundtracks in the Sega Genesis, which is saying a lot because Sega is known for having this Sega twang in their soundtracks, and for some people it's very off-putting, but I think it's really done really well here in Ristar, like so well. You don't really notice the twang. But what I'm trying to do here, I'm trying to get all the way up here to the top right, and we get to these bonus, I forget what they're called, bonus posts, but you grab them and you shoot up to a bonus level, and you get 60 seconds to complete them. And in my opinion, the only real difficult one is the last one, which up until this collection, I never once completed it. And right here, I think what's happening is my controller was acting a little bit wonky, which is very embarrassing. But the good thing about the collection is you can rewind, so you don't have to worry about ever messing up. And I try to keep that rewinding down to a minimum. But we get our first treasure, which is a star. And which, speaking of stars, Ristar's health is measured by those stars on the top right corner. There's points on the top left. You have your lives on the bottom left. And here we get to our first mini boss, which is a snake. You just keep on hitting its head or its body, its tail, and it will explode into black orbs. If you go up to the top, you can get a treasure chest, and you can get some a jewel, which is going to be in some points. And the points, that's a star. The jewels can go from any range of points. I believe it's 200, like 2,000, I believe. And the points, when you get to a certain amount, you'll get an extra life, which, I mean, extra lives are plenty in Ristar. I think it's like, I don't know, 50,000, I think, or maybe 10,000. I don't exactly remember. I think it's 10,000. But that signpost, or that shooting star post, I'm going to call it the shooting star post. Shooting star post. When you grab it, you'll launch really high, and you want to try to end the level on a high note. And then you get extra points. And then we're in the second half of the level. But one thing I want to talk about Ristar is when you finish a round or an act, whatever you want to call it, you get to see the Valdi System, which I think is super unique for this era in gaming. I don't think you really had like a progression screen like that. I mean, sure, Nintendo had its things with like Mario, Super Mario 3 and Mario World, but man, I never really saw anything like this at the time for, you know, Sega and everything. But yeah, and we get into different areas of these planets because all the rounds are on different planets in the Valdi System, and then Ristar will travel from planet to planet. And travel from planet to planet is one of my favorite parts of this game. But Planet Flora is very easy. It's very much a green hill zone, World 1 in Mario kind of thing, where you're just getting you used to the mechanics, like headbutt and grabbing shooting star pose, learn how to interact with objects and all that. Enemies aren't too hard, but it's just a fantastic game, all things considered. Very easy. In my opinion, it's a very easy game. I mean, the first time you play, you might be a little thrown off by the way Ristar handles, because Ristar is not very agile like Sonic, like Mario. That is his normal moving speed unless you grab a shooting star post. So he basically his auto animations are very interesting from level to level. But grab this bat right here, and then grab this other bat. And I think in the Japanese version they're flying squirrels. I don't think they're bats. A lot of the enemies in the English international version, they look very mean and menacing, but in the Japanese version, they don't look very mean and menacing in comparison. But the second bonus post, we're going to go here. Now, all you got to do is just grab these, I don't even know what to call them, walls, and you can swing to the other side. So it's like those those vines at the very first level that you could swing and get to the opposite end. But super easy. And we get a flashing apple. So we grab that treasure, and then we got all the treasures in this game. There's 12 in total because there's 6 worlds and there's 2 treasures per world. And that is the actual boss of the level, Raiho. I said Raiho, and I'm thinking about Thunder King Raiho from Yu-Gi-Oh. Anyways, he'll throw pineapples at you, so just avoid it. And if you want to turn back on the lights, all you gotta do is hit this plant and you'll turn the lights on, which I don't really think does anything. It really just makes everything brighter. I actually like the dark color in this level. But grab this shooting star post and you'll launch, hopefully, launch straight up so you end the level. But again, the higher up you end the level, the more points you get. So if you care about points, you'll do that. Oh, Jesus, 20,100 points. But boss arena, Raiho is coming. So we're going to be greeted to the first boss of Ristar, which is Rio. And Rio is not a very difficult fight, not at all, especially if you're very good at timing. Ristar has a very, very neuter jump in comparison to most platformers you have. But if you combine that with this grab, you can attack the enemies really high up. So attack the Elder 3 times and then Rio will jump off him. And all you gotta do is repeat this process. And right here, I probably could have done it, but I messed up my timing. But 3 grabs, and then Rio will fall and then just avoid the Elder's attacks. Super easy. Like there, he's already done. He's not a hard boss. And then he will be destroyed. And then Rio will thank us. And cherry blossom petals, I imagine, will fall down. Restart and get the thumbs up. And then now we can leave. And we'll be showing one of my favorite parts about Restart, the level transition or the world transition. And this kind of like blew my mind as a kid in 1995, 1996. I think that's when I got it. I didn't get this game when it first came out, but just the way he travels from planet to planet just is so cool to me even now. What they were able to do with the Genesis back in the day. But with that, we're done with the first world, and we're going to go to the second world. So I'll catch you in the next part, folks. And if you like this, please consider like, subscribing, and commenting. And we'll catch you on the next one. So later, guys, and bye.